Start. Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
How are you all?
I'm fine.
Good. So let's start our session today. So today we'll start. So today we'll start chapter 4, quadratic equations. Okay. Okay. Our chapter is chapter 4, quadratic equations. So how many of you feel this chapter to be easy and how many of you feel it difficult? Send me answers in the chat box. Okay. Okay, very good. Very good. Perfect. And I want the answers from everyone in the class. There are so many. Okay. Sometimes. Okay. Okay. Who feel it difficult? Can you just post me what sort of questions do you feel it difficult? Like different type of equations with various terms like complex quadratic equations or equations with reducing to quadratic forms or word problems. Which type of questions do you feel difficult? Send me in your chat box. Okay. Meanwhile, let's start the class. Okay. Today, there was a mixed group of students in today's class. Some feel it is easy, some feel it is difficult. No matter what, whether it is easy or difficult, we can make it easy. So how can we do that? Let's have it. Look at first the intro part of this, then we'll go further to the rest things. Okay, I could see it. Some feel it difficulty in splitting middle terms and some feel it difficult in word problems, some in complex cases. Very good, very good. Okay, I could see all your answers. So let me start first. Okay, before starting anything, let's see what is the weightage of this chapter. As all of you know, this chapter again belongs to the category of algebra, where you have 4 chapters into it, like linear equations, polynomials, quadratic equations, and arithmetic progressions. Here, linear equations and polynomials are already done. Now we are with the 3rd chapter, which is quadratic equations. So on average, if it is 20 marks, you have a scope of getting 5 to 6 marks. So that is the average weightage of this chapter. Now let's move ahead to see the core topics of this chapter. Here you have the basic intro of what is quadratic equations. Further, we will see the standard form and its roots cases. Now comes the 2 main core topics, which is solution of a quadratic equation. The first case is by factorization method. The second case is by formula method. Now, whatever the equation it is, however the solutions you find, whether by factorizing method or by formula method, at the end, there will be the nature of this roots. Roots are nothing but the solutions itself. That solutions of any quadratic equation has particular patterns or particular nature for it. What is that? That we will be discussing in the 5th topic. And here, basically, if you consider for this chapter, 4.3 and 4.4 are the very most important highly scoring topics. And in this, you can see almost all your 2 marker, 3 marker, and 5 marker questions are from factorization category only. Okay, yes, I understand. That is why many of you have said that factorization method is a bit difficult. Okay, let's make it easy today, that also. Now, for example, before we go to anything, let's have a quick recap of what is quadratic equation. Before I start up anything on the screen, you would have been learning the splitting of middle term method right from class 8 onwards, where you'll be having a factorization chapter in which you'll be learning how to split a quadratic expression by splitting the middle terms. Further, moving to 9th class, you'll be learning how to factorize a polynomial, degree 3, degree 4 polynomial. There again, you'll be using to make it a quadratic and further splitting. Now, however we have used the factorization method, it is always a confusion for the children of how to split it, what the factors to be taken. Now, before going to all those, what is a quadratic polynomial? Let's see to it. In a quadratic equation, we always have a quadratic polynomial. What is a quadratic polynomial? In chapter 2, we have already studied. What is it? A polynomial with degree 2. So, if the degree is 2 for any polynomial in one variable, the variable should be 1 and the degree of the polynomial should be 2, then such a polynomial is said to be a quadratic polynomial. And the general form of it, I've given it in the chapter 2 also. Can anyone tell me what is the general form of a quadratic polynomial? Send me your answers in the chat box. We have learned many polynomials, linear polynomial, quadratic polynomial, cubic polynomial. I've shown you all. Yes, very good, very good. It is ax square plus bx plus c, where a is not equals to 0. So this is the general form of a quadratic polynomial. All of you know this. There again, we have studied one more thing. The number of zeros of a quadratic polynomial. How many zeros does a quadratic polynomial have? Very good, very good. All the answers are right. Please send the answers to my personal chat, because if you send your answers to the public chat, there is a chances that others copy it. They don't have a scope to think or recall their concepts. So I request everyone to send your answers to my personal chat. Very good. Since the degree is 2 and there is only one variable in it, so we have 2 zeros of it. So every quadratic polynomial has 2 zeros. Now, these 2 zeros are nothing but if the polynomial becomes an equation. We have a quadratic polynomial. Now, this quadratic polynomial, if it is made into equation, that is a quadratic polynomial. If you equate it to 0, it becomes a quadratic equation. Now, whatever the 2 zeros you are getting, the 2 zeros will be nothing but the roots of this quadratic equation. Are nothing but the 2 zeros. So the roots are nothing but the zeros of the polynomial. So you know how to find the zeros? The same thing logic will apply for the zeros also. I mean for the roots also. But there we use a concept of sum of roots and product of roots. That concept we use here, we use it in a different. Now, this is what the basic understanding of what quadratic equation is. Simple definition, nothing but a quadratic polynomial equated to 0 is a quadratic equation. So here you go with it. See here, all of you. Any equation of the form P of x is equals to 0, where P of x is a polynomial of degree 2 is called a quadratic equation. This is what I was telling. Any polynomial in a single variable with a degree 2 is a quadratic polynomial. That if you equate to 0, as shown here, that if you equate to 0, it becomes a quadratic equation. Now, the general form of a quadratic equation in a variable x is given as the one you can see on the screen, which is ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0. And here, obviously, a, b, c are the real numbers, and the x square quotient should never be 0. Why should x square quotient not be 0? Because if x square quotient becomes 0, this term will vanish. Then it will become a linear equation. It will not be left as a quadratic. So, for that reason, x square quotient should never be 0. Then it remains as a quadratic equation. Now here you can see what A, B, C are there. Why am I specifically talking and showing it on the screen? What is A, B, C? Currently, what is your situation? All your focus, all your concentration is on your board exams. जैसे आपकी concentration आपकी board exams पे है, your preparation, everything is on your board exams. उसी तरह एक quadratic equation को solve करने के लिए what all things that we need is A, B, C. The solutions of the quadratic equation, or you call it as roots, whatever you call it. Quadratic equation के जितने भी roots आएंगे, दो roots आते, वो दो roots इस A, B, C value पे ही dependent. Depending on what type of values are this A, B, C, we get different sort of roots of an equation. So the first and the foremost thing that all of you need to remember in a quadratic equation is it is a degree 2 polynomial equated to 0. And its focus is it's all the focus is on the three values, which is coefficient of x square, coefficient of x, and the constant. That is A, B, C value. A, B, C values जैसे vary होंगे, roots भी उसी तरीके से vary होते जाएंगे. Here is an examples of quadratic equations. X square minus 8x minus 560 equals to 0. And one more is also there. The first case, A value is 1. B value is minus 8. Be careful. Whenever you talk about the coefficients of x, y, and z, x square, x and constant term, that is A, B, C, you should always take along with its sign. This is the where many children do the mistakes. The very negligible errors which leads to the wrong calculation. And however you know how to calculate, आपको सारा problem solve करने के तरीका पता है, you know how to solve it, systematic way आप सब कुछ कर रहे, लेकिन ये B, C values choose करते वक्त आपने उसकी sign miss कर लिया. However you solve the problem, it makes no sense. So here A value is 1, B value is minus 8, and C value is minus 560. Coming to the second equation, in this case, A value is 11, B value is minus 26, and C value is minus 21. So, जो errors सब कुछ होने के बाद भी, when you know everything but still errors occur, these are the cases where the first level of errors occur. So you should be very careful with this ABC, because these are the complete values on which the complete chapter is depending on. So for that reason. Now, what is important point to keep in mind? The terms of a quadratic equation are arranged in the descending order of powers of variables. So preferably, to make the equation easily solvable, try to make it as power 2 term, power 1 term, and constant term. इस तरीके के arrange करने से you can easily figure out what is A, what is B, and what is C without any confusion. So for that reason, this is suggested always. Even if the equation is jumbled, make it straight in this order. Moving further, here you have factorization. What is this factorization method I was always been telling? Whenever you want to find the roots or solution of a quadratic equation, we need to, we have two methods basically. What is it? First one is factorization method, the other is formula. In factorization method, what happens? To find the solution of a quadratic equation by factorization method, we express the given quadratic polynomial as a product of two linear factors by splitting the middle term, and then equate each of them to the zeros to get the possible solutions. What is the meaning of it? Now, for example, I have a quadratic equation like this. X square minus 5x plus 6 is equals to 0. This is my quadratic equation. Now, observe all this. Here I have A value 1, B value minus 5, and C value 6. What is factorization method telling? आपको middle term split करनी, splitting of middle term. वो कैसे split होती है? You know how does it get split? You have to consider the coefficient of x square multiplied with the constant term. Along with its sign I have taken, it is plus 6. Now I have to split this into two factors whose product is the value which you got and the sum is the middle term. We have learned the same thing in the polynomial chapter also. What was it? If you want to find the zeros, if the zeros of a quadratic polynomial x square minus 5x plus 6, if this is a quadratic polynomial p of x, and if its roots are alpha and beta, what does the middle term say? Alpha plus beta is nothing but minus b by a. That is the middle term by x square coefficient. And what is alpha beta? It is C by A, that is constant by the x square. Same relation is here also. Whenever you have two zeros or two roots, उस चैप्टर में हमें जीरोस जो बोलते हैं उसी वैल्यूज को यहाँ पे हम रूट्स भी कहते हैं. सो जो रूट्स ऑफ ए क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन है, उस रूट्स की सम जो होती है वो हमेशा मिडिल टर्म की कोएफिशिएंट बनती है, और उस रूट्स की जो प्रोडक्ट होती है वो c by a, that is the coefficient of the constant term divided by the coefficient of x square. Up when you are doing the factorization method, what is the thing that you need to remember? Your focus should be always on splitting this middle term. How can you split this middle term? Minus 5x is there. There are many ways of doing it in the addition form by splitting. How I can write? I can make it as minus 6x plus x. I can make it as minus 2x minus 3x. I can split it as minus 10x and 5x. There are many ways of writing this minus 5x as a sum of two different terms. But which is the right one? There are infinite ways I can write it. But which is the right one? To decide that, I use this coefficient of x square and constant term product. That I split. Now, how am I going to do that part? Have a look at this. अब बारी आती है 6 को split करना. So how can we split 6 in generally? 1, 6, 2, 3. These are the only factor pairs that we get for 6. लेकिन इसमें से हमें किन दो पेयर्स की, like 1 and 6 is a pair, 2 and 3 is a pair of numbers. किस पेयर से हमें -5 मिल सकती है? That is the question. So 1 and 6 if you take, now for suppose if I take this is +1 and -6, it becomes -5. Very good. But is the product of this both 6? No. So I can't choose this. Now I can make it as -2 and -3, whose sum is -5 and whose product is 6. So whenever you are using the concept of middle term, always you have to have a visualization in your mind of the x square coefficient and the constant should be multiplied. Whatever the product you are getting, that should be made into two factors. How are you making those two factors? Their product should be same as the number that you got. Their sum should be same as a middle term coefficient. Now, how will I split this x minus 5x? Minus 5x I split as, these are the two parts I got. So these two parts I will write it as minus 2x minus 3x plus 6 is equals to 0. अब इस टू फैक्टर्स ऑफ 6 को यूज करके मैंने ये जो मिडिल टर्म -5x है उसे -2x और -3x की तरह स्प्लिट किया. नाउ वी विल यूज द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ कॉमन फैक्टर मेथड by grouping the terms. Now I'll make up the group of these two terms and the other two terms as the other. Now इस group में x square minus 2x में x is a common factor. I'm left with x minus 2 as the other common factor. उसी तरीके से -3x and +6 इसमें I can take again -3 as a common factor. I will get x minus 2 as the other factor. Now you may ask me, ma'am, why did you take -3? Why can't we take +3? Now let's see what happens if we take +3. That also I'll show you. अभी ये जो part है इसमें अगर the right side group which I have, in this if I take +3 as a factor, what happens? It becomes x into x minus 2 plus 3 into minus x plus 2. यहाँ पे x minus 2 एक factor है, तो यहाँ पर भी x minus 2 should become the common factor. इसीलिए मैंने -3 को फैक्टर की तरह निकाला. अगर if I have taken +3 as a factor, this would have been remaining as x minus 2. This would have been reminded as -x plus 2. Again, आपको माइनस अलग से निकालने. For that reason, I have chosen it. Now, if you observe, I have two groups, which is x into x minus 2. The other group is -3 into x minus 2. दोनों में x minus 2 is a common factor. The other common factor is x minus 3 equals to 0. Now, product of two terms is 0. Product of two values is 0. When will it be 0? Either the first one is 0 or the second one is 0. Now, in this case, if you equate the first part to 0, you'll get x value as 2. And if you equate the second part to 0, you'll get x value as 3. So, the roots are the zeros of this quadratic equation are 2, 3. 2 and 3. So what is the thing that you need to keep in mind when using factorization method is you should always be able to visualize the obtained product as two factors. How are those two factors coming? Those two factors should be leading to a sum of the middle term. Okay. Now we have the other method for finding solution. What is it? Formula method. Now, what is the formula method? Either you do the factorization method or formula method. Have you observed? अभी तक जितना भी factorization method में मैंने जो example समझाया, उसमें जो हमने x square coefficient को constant से multiply किया 1 and 6 को, here I'll show it back to you. So here you can see back. So here I have taken the x square coefficient, which is 1, and I have multiplied with the constant term. That is, ये value c value को multiply किया, और जो कुछ भी product आ रही है, उसे मैंने दो factors में split किया, such that जो बीच में b part जो है वो split हो जाए. तो इधर भी हमारा focus ये b c पे ही है, क्योंकि ये splitting तभी possible है when you are able to visualize the relation between a, b and c. उसी तरीके से formula method में this is the one big advantage for many who feel factorization method as a difficult. जिसको भी factorization method difficult लगती है, उनके लिए formula method is just like a boon. मतलब आपके पास एक मैजिक स्टिक मिल गई, चलो हमें स्प्लिटिंग नहीं आ रही है, हम फार्मूला में रिप्लेस कर लेंगे, क्योंकि उसमें भी हमें चाहिए ये बी सी वैल्यूज, वो तो हमें इक्वेशन देख के मिल ही जाएगी. So now what is the formula to replace that ABC values to get those roots is this one. What are the two roots that we get when you use the formula method? Here you have minus b plus root of b square minus 4ac by 2a is one root, minus b minus root of b square minus 4ac by 2a is the other. So ये दो roots आपको फार्मूला से इजीली मिल जाएंगे. आपको जो भी एबीसी वैल्यूज जो आपको इक्वेशन में दिख रही है, सीधा फार्मूला में रिप्लेस कीजिए, आपको आपके रूट्स मिल जाएंगे. ठीक है. सो दिस इज हाउ वी यूज द फार्मूला. एनीबॉडी एनी डाउट चिल्ड्रन? Now here, if b square minus 4ac is greater than or equals to 0, then the quadratic equation has real roots, which is given by like this. So what is the meaning of this? Why is it being focused on b square minus 4ac? आप अच्छे से नोटिस करेंगे इस फार्मूला में जो कुछ भी रूट के अंदर है, दिस इज b स्क्वायर माइनस 4ac वैल्यू. अब अगर ये वैल्यू पॉजिटिव हुआ, क्योंकि this is just a simple calculation of three values. B, A, B, C values are involved in it. B square minus 4AC जब आप calculate करोगे, it could be positive, it could be 0, or it could be negative, it could be anything. अब अगर ये positive या 0 बन गया, that means if it is greater than or equals to 0, then automatically the root value will become a real number. That is, you'll be able to calculate it. Either it is irrational form or rational form, no matter what, it is a real number. So इसीलिए हम कहते हैं जब b स्क्वायर माइनस 4ac वैल्यू जो कुछ भी रूट के अंदर है, अब अगर ये नॉन नेगेटिव वैल्यू है, ग्रेटर देन और इक्वल टू 0, मतलब इट इज नॉन नेगेटिव. जब वो नेगेटिव नहीं है, ऑटोमेटिकली जो रूट्स हमें मिलते हैं वो रियल नंबर्स होते हैं. और वो रियल नंबर्स कैसे मिलते हैं अभी तक मैंने समझाया, वही है. So plus form will give you one root, minus form will give you the other root. So alpha and beta, that is the two roots are defined like this. So if b square minus 4ac is less than 0, that is, अब अगर वो जो रूट के अंदर जो वैल्यू हमें मिल रही है, अगर वो नेगेटिव बन गए, क्या हो सकता है? अगर वो नेगेटिव बन गए, जो हमें रूट्स मिलती है वो नॉन रियल रूट्स बने. So what are non-real roots? They are nothing but complex roots, which we'll be learning in your higher grades. So अभी के लिए you just remember that they are non-real roots. That's it. Now moving further. Now before I move anything else, I just want to specify one important point here. Either you are solving the factorization method by splitting the middle term. हर बार factorization by middle term is not easy. कभी-कभी हम visualize नहीं कर पाते हैं कि हमारा factors क्या हो सकती है, हम उसे कैसे split कर सकते हैं. उस सिचुएशंस में हमें फार्मूला मेथड बहुत हेल्पफुल रहता है। कभी कभी ऐसी सिचुएशंस भी आती है जब वैल्यूज बहुत बड़े होने की वजह से जब आप इस फार्मूला मेथड में आप वैल्यूज रिप्लेस करोगे कैलकुलेशन डिफिकल्ट हो जाती है। उस सिचुएशन में फैक्टराइजेशन मेथड यूज हो सकती है। But however, either you use a factorization method or formula method, ultimately आप क्या काम कर रहे हो, जो क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन है उसको सॉल्यूशंस आप पता कर रहे हो। नाउ ये जो सॉल्यूशंस आ रही है आपके पास, ये सब कुछ इस b² - 4ac पे डिपेंडेंट। ये b² - 4ac पॉजिटिव हुआ तो रेशनल रूट्स में, आई मीन रियल रूट्स मिलेंगे, आई मीन जीरो हुआ तो भी रियल रूट्स मिलेंगे, नॉन जीरो हुआ तो नॉन रियल रूट्स मिलेंगे। तो ये पार्ट जो है b² - 4ac, दिस इज अ वेरी कोर वैल्यू which decides what type of solutions you get for a quadratic equation. Now coming to that particular point which is called as nature of roots. किसी भी quadratic equation की nature of roots b² - 4ac की वैल्यू के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट होती है। And this b² - 4ac value is called as discriminant. What do we call? Discriminant. This is called as discriminant. Why do we call it as discriminant? Because this is discrimination means there is a change being differentiation being occurring. वो डिफरेंशिएशन क्यों आ रही है? सॉल्यूशंस में डिफरेंस नेचर आ रही है। कभी वो रियल एंड डिफरेंट रूट्स हो सकती है, दोनों इक्वल रूट्स हो सकते हैं, दोनों नॉन रियल रूट्स हो सकते हैं। जो कुछ भी रूट्स आ रही है इस वैल्यू की वजह से आ रहे हैं क्योंकि वो स्क्वायर रूट के अंदर है। स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ ए वैल्यू कैन बी एनीथिंग। So this value, I mean the value of b² - 4ac which is deciding these roots is called as discriminant. And this discriminant will decide the nature of the equation. How will it decide? Here is it. If b² - 4ac, that is the discriminant value, is positive, if it is a positive discriminant, then the two roots will be as it is what you are thinking of. अभी जो हमने पिछले स्लाइड में देखा था वही रूट्स बने, the same will be, these are the roots only because it is positive. And for the positive, this, for example, if b² - 4 value, 4ac value is 16, you'll make root 16 and you'll take plus or minus 4 for that. And if it is 15, then you will just leave root 15 as it is. If it is root 20, you will take it as 2 root 5. So ये b² - 4ac अगर पॉजिटिव हुआ कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं, it just becomes a irrational form because it is inside the square root. अब अगर वो स्क्वायर रूट सॉल्वेबल है तो रेशनल बन जाएगी। अब अगर वो सॉल्यूशन व्हाट डू यू कॉल, इफ दैट d वैल्यू इज अ नॉन परफेक्ट स्क्वायर, इट रिमेन्स बैक एज ए irrational. So these are the two cases that you get. वो भी मैं लिख दूंगी स्क्रीन पे. If d value in the first case here, if d value is a perfect square, if d is a perfect square, then you will get rational roots. Then the roots are rational roots. You'll get rational numbers. If d is non-perfect square, उस सिचुएशन में आपको irrational roots मिलेंगे। क्योंकि स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ द irrational, द नॉन परफेक्ट स्क्वायर इज नॉट सॉल्वेबल, तो आपकी वैल्यूज जो है, रूट्स जो है irrational फॉर्म में रह जाए। अब अगर वो परफेक्ट स्क्वायर है आप स्क्वायर रूट पता कर सकते हो और आपका वैल्यू रेशनल। Now moving further, if d value is 0, excuse me, if d value is 0, the roots are very easy. What is that? This complete part is becoming 0. You are left with minus b/2a. So दोनों roots, quadratic equation की हमेशा दो roots ही होते हैं. It has two roots always. वो टू रूट्स क्या होती है? d पे डिपेंड होती है। कैसे? अब अगर d वैल्यू ग्रेटर देन 0 है, परफेक्ट स्क्वायर के केस टू रेशनल रूट्स आएंगे, वो भी डिफरेंट रेशनल नंबर्स आएंगे। अब अगर वो नॉन परफेक्ट स्क्वायर है d वैल्यू, यू विल गेट टू डिफरेंट इरेशनल रूट्स। अब अगर d वैल्यू 0 बन गई, देन यू विल गेट टू इक्वल रूट्स। दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, वो भी रियल नंबर्स ही बनेंगे। And the last case is If D is less than 0, automatically just now I said there are no real roots for this equation. You may ask me, whether is it possible to get rational roots always? When we are talking about A, B, C, all of these to be rational numbers, then there is a case, somebody asked me in the chat box, for them I am telling, जो ABC वैल्यूज है, अब अगर वो रेशनल है तो आपको परफेक्ट स्क्वायर होने पे रेशनल रूट्स आएंगे. अब अगर वो रेशनल नहीं है, ABC वैल्यू से इरेशनल है, then there are chances your roots to be irrational. I will tell you everything. Yes. If ABC values are rational, then the solution is having a chances of getting completely rational roots basing on the discriminant value, which is a perfect square order. Hope your doubt is clear, dear. Now coming to this category, weightage of the solution. How do we do it? Now let's take up a complex problem. Now look at the problem which is on the screen. So this is not a quadratic equation directly. It is a reducible case. तो इससे पहले हमें क्वाड्रेटिक फॉर्म में रिड्यूस करनी है, उसके बाद हमें उसके रूट्स पता करनी है. पहले इसको रिड्यूस कैसे करें? सो लेट्स सी टू दैट. इसको रिड्यूस करने के लिए देयर इज नो अदर वे, क्योंकि यहाँ पे डिनोमिनेटर्स है. आपको कुछ भी इस पे सॉल्व करने के लिए पहले इसके डिनोमिनेटर्स निकालें. इसके डिनोमिनेटर्स कैसे निकाल पाएंगे? राइट साइड में जो कुछ भी पार्ट है उसको एलसीएम करिए. So you'll get this as like this. So here let me go with it. So on the left side, I have 1 by 1 plus a plus b plus x. On the right side, the denominators are a, b, c. So the LCM is a, b, x. So the numerator में जो भी terms बनेंगे, bx plus ax plus a, ये बनेंगे numerator. अब आपको denominator निकालने हैं, तो क्या करेंगे आप? Obviously उसको cross multiply करेंगे. तो आप cross multiply करोगे, this part will multiply with 1 and this part gets multiplied with this right side. So you'll get it as abx is equals to, right side में आपके पास जो कुछ भी है वो है bx plus ax plus ab. आप इसको आप इस डिनोमिनेटर के साथ मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे, which is a plus b plus x. Now you will see here abx is equals to, you'll get it as, now start multiplying this complete two polynomials, that is two trinomials you have, multiply it term by term. You get abx plus, I'm multiplying first term with everything, then I follow the sequence. So b square x plus bx square. उसी तरीके से सेकेंड टर्म से मैं मल्टीप्लाई करूंगी, मुझे मिलेगी a स्क्वायर x प्लस ए बी एक्स प्लस ये एक्स स्क्वायर. अब थर्ड टर्म से मैं मल्टीप्लाई करूंगी, मुझे जो मिलेगी ए स्क्वायर बी प्लस ए बी स्क्वायर प्लस ए बी एक्स. अब जो लेफ्ट साइड और राइट साइड में ए बी एक्स है, इस दोनों को कैंसिल कर सकते हो. अब आपके पास लेफ्ट साइड में क्या बचा? 0. अब राइट साइड में हमें देखेंगे मेरे पास क्या क्या टर्म्स है. एक्स स्क्वायर टर्म्स कितने हैं? यहाँ पे यू हैव बी एक्स स्क्वायर एंड ए एक्स स्क्वायर, जिसमें एक्स स्क्वायर कॉमन है, तो मैं इसको लिखती हूँ ए प्लस बी इंटू एक्स स्क्वायर. उसी तरीके से मेरे पास कुछ और टर्म्स भी है. वो क्या टर्म्स है? आई हैव एक्स टर्म्स. व्हाट आर द एक्स टर्म्स हियर? आई हैव ए स्क्वायर एक्स, ए बी एक्स एंड बी स्क्वायर एक्स. तो जब मैं इन सब की जो ग्रीन में अंडरलाइन किया, उन टर्म्स में से अब जब आप x कॉमन लोगे, आपके पास क्या बचेगी? यू हैव ए स्क्वायर प्लस बी स्क्वायर. ए बी एक्स 2 बार है, तो मैं इसको लिखती हूँ 2ab. अब देखो आपके पास क्या है? ए स्क्वायर एक्स, बी स्क्वायर एक्स प्लस 2abx. सो दिस आर द x टर्म्स दैट आई हैव. अब इसके बाद मेरे पास क्या है? कांस्टेंट. व्हाट आर द कांस्टेंट्स दैट आई हैव? I have my constants as like this, a square b and ab square. अब इन दोनों की ये भी is a common factor. जब मैं ये भी common factor निकालूंगी, मेरे पास ये प्लस बी बचेगा. This is how I factor it. So now I got a quadratic form, but this is also not completely easily solvable. So let's see how to make it. I have a plus b into x square plus a square plus 2ab plus b square into x plus ab into a plus. इसे में मिडिल टर्म में जो कुछ भी है, अगर आपने ऑब्जर्व किया हो, ये एक आइडेंटिटी. तो इसको मैं कैसे सॉल्व करूंगी? आई हैव a प्लस बी इंटू एक्स स्क्वायर प्लस a प्लस बी होल स्क्वायर इंटू एक्स प्लस ए बी इंटू ए प्लस। तो ये जो पूरा पार्ट ऑफ द एक्सप्रेशन है मैंने इसको ऐसे रिजॉल्व किया, इज इक्वल टू 0 मेरे पास ऑलरेडी है। आपने नोटिस किया हो तो सारे तीनों टर्म्स में, इसमें एक्स स्क्वायर टर्म में, एक्स टर्म में और कांस्टेंट टर्म में मेरे पास ए प्लस बी कॉमन। जब मैं ये ए प्लस बी जो कॉमन फैक्टर है जब उसको बाहर निकालती हूँ मेरे पास क्या बन जाएगा इक्वेशन, मेरी इक्वेशन ऐसे बन जाएगी। ए प्लस बी जो कॉमन फैक्टर है उसको मैं निकाल रही हूँ। अब मेरे पास है एक्स स्क्वायर। अब मिडिल टर्म कैसे बनेंगे, यहाँ पे ए प्लस बी होल स्क्वायर था, उसमें से मैंने एक ही वैल्यू बाहर निकाला, तो मेरे पास दूसरा ए प्लस बी ऐसे ही रही इंटू एक्स। और कांस्टेंट टर्म में मेरे पास ए प्लस बी ऑलरेडी बाहर निकल गई, बची हुई ए पी। Now, however, this is a constant value. I can take it to the right side and make it 0. No problem. Now I am left with the equation x square plus a plus b into x plus ab equals to 0. अब इसे मुझे सॉल्व करना। अब सवाल उठती है मैं इसको फैक्टराइजेशन मेथड में सॉल्व करूंगी या फार्मूला मेथड में सॉल्व। आपको जो मेथड इजी है आप उस मेथड को यूज कर सकते हैं, लेकिन मैं जो सजेस्ट करती हूँ वो फैक्टराइजेशन मेथड। क्यों सजेस्ट करती हूँ मैं आपको वो भी बता। अब आप इस पार्ट को देखिए, इसे आप जो a प्लस बी इंटू एक्स है इसे एक्स स्क्वायर प्लस ए एक्स प्लस बी एक्स प्लस ए बी करके आसानी से लिख सकते हैं। आपने ऑब्जर्व करा हो या नहीं, ए एक्स प्लस बी एक्स ऑलरेडी मिडिल टर्म स्प्लिट हो चुका है, हमें कोई हार्ड वर्क करने की जरूरत ही नहीं। अगर आप यहाँ पे फार्मूला मेथड यूज करेंगे वो बहुत लेंदी बन जाएगी, क्योंकि आपकी मिडिल टर्म कोएफिशिएंट ये है। So you'll be getting the formula method as a plus b whole square plus or minus root of a plus b whole square, sorry, a plus b here, a plus b whole square minus 4ab। इसको फिर पूरा सॉल्व करना है, ये लेंदी प्रोसेस, क्योंकि हमारा जो ए बी सी वैल्यूज है वो खुद ही वेरिएबल्स है ए एंड बी फॉर्म में, तो उसको यूज करना इज बिट टीडियस और आपको उसकी ऑब्जर्वेशन के साथ उसको सॉल्व करना आना चाहिए। इससे अच्छा स्प्लिटिंग ऑफ मिडिल टर्म्स इज इजी, क्योंकि हमारा कांस्टेंट टर्म जो है वो है ये भी, ये एंड बी प्रोडक्ट को आप कैसे प्रोडक्ट में स्प्लिट कर सकते हो, ऑब्वियसली ये भी, इसके अलावा कुछ और आ ही नहीं सकता, और हमारे पास ऑलरेडी ये भी मिडिल टर्म में है, तो मैंने इसे ऐसे रिजॉल्व। अब आई विल टेक दिस टू पार्ट्स टू मेक ए फैक्टराइजेशन, other two parts are the factorization. So x into x plus a will be one factor of the first group, and the second group will be factorized with b into x plus a. अब दोनों ग्रुप्स में x plus a is a factor, so x plus a into x plus b would be the other factor. इन दो फैक्टर्स को मैं अगर इक्वेट करूंगी जीरो को, मेरे पास x वैल्यूज मिलेंगे माइनस ए एंड माइनस बी। दीज आर द रूट्स ऑफ दिस क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन। ये इतनी लेंथी सॉल्विंग है, इसीलिए ये लॉन्ग आंसर कैटेगरी में जाएंगे। एंड द अदर थिंग दैट यू नीड टू रिमेंबर, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इस प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग में हमने जो इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट किया वो है जो कुछ भी इक्वेशन हमें मिला उसे पहले हमें क्वाड्रेटिक फॉर्म में रिड्यूस करना है। सबसे बड़ा पॉइंट ही वही है, बिकॉज योर कोर प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग इज मेकिंग इट इनटू ए क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन। फर्स्ट यू हैव टू रिड्यूस इट इनटू ए क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन, फर्दर you have to factorize the quadratic equation to get the roots of it. So for this, how is the weightage going to be? So have a look at this. Here you go. So when you solve this part of the expressions, you are getting it in various stages. Since it is a long answer type, first you should know how to start solving. मतलब आपने LCM किया लेफ्ट साइड पे, फिर क्रॉस मल्टीप्लाई किया और उसको एक्सपैंड किया, तो फॉर दैट पार्ट यू विल बी गेटिंग 2 मार्क्स। फिर उस एक्सपेंशन में आपने एक आइडेंटिटी नोटिस किया, उसको सिंप्लीफाई करा, फिर उसमें जो कॉमन फैक्टर है ए प्लस बी निकाला, उस ए प्लस बी को जीरो करने के बाद आपके पास क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन है, उसके लिए 2 मार्क मिलेंगे। At the end, your quadratic equation is very easy and factorization method is the most easiest one to solve this, so उसके लिए 1 mark. So this is how your marks is being weightage for this type of questions. Clear? Anybody any doubt in this? For which question you want the formula method, Varun? For this question or in generally you want me to explain that? Okay, so here there is one more question. अब ये क्वेश्चन है रूट्स पे. What sort of roots है? Real roots. So there is a quadratic equation with us जिसकी roots है real and equal भी है. When will the roots be real and equal? Send me in the chat box all of you. Quadratic equation के roots real and equal कब बनते हैं? Discriminant का nature कैसे होनी? Very good, very good. जब discriminant 0 बनती है तब हमारा real and equal roots बनता है. So सबसे पहले जो कुछ भी उन्होंने दिया it has real and equal roots. उसके लिए हमें d वैल्यू चाहिए. d वैल्यू के लिए पहले हमें ये भी से आइडेंटिफाई करना. यहाँ पे ये भी से आइडेंटिफाई करने के लिए पहले आपको इस इक्वेशन जो कुछ भी दिया हुआ है उसे सिंपलेस्ट फॉर्म में लिखने, क्योंकि हियर आल्सो यू फाइंड एन x स्क्वायर टर्म, हियर आल्सो यू फाइंड एन x स्क्वायर टर्म. सो पहले इसे सिंपलेस्ट स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्म ऑफ क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन में लिखते हैं. तो ये दो टर्म्स में से जो कुछ भी x स्क्वायर है, I can take x square as a common. I can make it as k plus 1 into x square minus 2 times k minus 1 into x plus 1 equals to 0. This is the standard form of this equation. अब इस इक्वेशन में मेरे पास जो ये है वो है k plus 1, b जो है minus 2 times of k minus 1 and c जो है 1. These are my values. When the discriminant is 0, automatically I have to make b square minus 4ac is equals to 0. जब b square minus 4ac 0 करनी है उसकी वैल्यूज मुझे वहां रिप्लेस करनी है. चलो रिप्लेस करके देखते हैं क्या हो जाता है. minus 2 into k minus 1 is a b value which is whole square minus 4 into k plus 1 into 1 equals to 0. अब बात ये है इसको सिंप्लीफाई करने में. लेट्स सिंप्लीफाई इट. You will get it as 4 into k square minus 2k plus 1. And here you have 4k minus 4 equals to 0. इसे और सॉल्व करते हैं. 4 अंदर लेके जाएंगे. 4k square minus 8k plus 4 minus 4k minus 4 equals to 0. जब आप फर्दर सॉल्व करोगे यहाँ पे आपको मिलेगी 4k square plus 4 minus 4 तो कैंसिल हो गई. आपके पास बची है minus 12k equals to 0. When you solve it, here you can see 4k is a common factor. 4k common factor आप निकालोगे आपके पास बचेगी k minus 3 equals to 0. So आपके पास k के दो वैल्यूज है. एक है k equals to 0, दूसरा k equals to 3. k equals to 0 मैं इग्नोर करूंगी. Why? If I take k equals to 0, what happens in this equation? See, there is a lot change भी ना करें. So for that I will consider the k value as 3. Now इस equation में मैं k value 3 replace करूँ. Why am I doing it? My k value is obtained. My question is find the roots of the equation. Equation के roots पता करने के लिए पहले मुझे equation solve करनी पड़ेगी. तो equation में solve करने के लिए मैं k value इसमें replace करूँ. So if I replace the k value in this equation, I will get it as 3x square plus 1 minus 2 times of 3 minus 1 into x plus x square equals to 0. अब इसे सॉल्व करने पे मुझे मिलेगी 4x square minus this is 4x plus 1 equals to 0. Now somebody was asking me the formula method. I will tell you this problem in formula method. So यहाँ पे ये value 4 है, b value minus 4 है, c value 1. You can solve it with what do you call factorization method also. But somebody was asking me to explain a question on formula method, so I'm telling you formula method. So यहाँ पे x value जो बनेगी, already हमें पता है roots are real and equal. So automatically minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. इसमें ये part 0 बन जाए क्योंकि roots are real and equal. Equal roots के लिए discriminant 0 होती है. तो जब 0 होती है हमारे roots जो है minus b by a होती है. So minus of minus 4 by, oh, sorry, 1 second. 2 into 4, which is 1 by 8, 1 by 2. Is one root, automatically the roots are equal, the other root is also 1. दोनों रूट्स ऐसे मिल जाए. अब अगर आप इसको फैक्टराइजेशन मेथड में करना चाहते हैं वो भी कर सकते हैं. क्योंकि दिस इज फॉलोइंग एन आइडेंटिटी ऑफ 2x होल स्क्वायर minus 2 into 2x into 1 plus 1 square equals to 0. So it is in the form of 2x minus 1 whole square equals to 0, leading x value as both 1/2. तो आप फैक्टराइजेशन मेथड में करना चाहते हो वो भी कर सकते हो, लेकिन आपको वो विजुअलाइजेशन नहीं हो पा रही है, then you can go for the formula method and replace it because your discriminant is 0. Directly minus b by 2a value you can find it, which is half and half. Perfect. So Varun, is your doubt clear now of how to use the formula method? So here is that how you solve this question and you get the two equal roots. So on the screen it is showing you the factorization method at the end. So moving further, here you have a word problem. Many of you have been chatting me that, ma'am, please explain a word problem. Here I tell you. How to understand a word problem, how to make the relation between the terms in it, and then how to make an equation, quadratic equation out of it. This is what your main core problem. So let's see to that. अब ये क्वेश्चन है डाउनस्ट्रीम एंड अपस्ट्रीम. तो डाउनस्ट्रीम और अपस्ट्रीम का मतलब सबसे पहले पता होनी चाहिए, तभी जाके आप ये प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करें. नाउ हमेशा एक चीज याद रखना, जब भी कोई भी बोट पानी में जा रही है, पानी एक डायरेक्शन में जा रही है, अब अगर बोट भी उसी डायरेक्शन में जा रही है, दैट इज द डायरेक्शन ऑफ द बोट एंड द डायरेक्शन ऑफ द वाटर इज सेम, such a situation is called as downstream situation. अब ऐसे सिचुएशन में क्या होती है, ऑलरेडी बोट जो है वो एक स्पीड से जा रही है, मान लो यहाँ पे 18 किलोमीटर पर आवर स्पीड से जा रही है. वाटर का स्पीड जो है हमें पता नहीं है, उसे मान लेते हैं x. जब बोट एक स्पीड से जा रही है, पानी भी उसी डायरेक्शन में जा रही है, तो पानी अपनी स्पीड से बोट को और तेज बताएगी. Then what happens? The ultimate relative speed in downstream will become बोट स्पीड के साथ साथ पानी का स्पीड भी बोट को ऐड हो जाती है. सेम वे व्हाट इज अपस्ट्रीम? पानी तो हमारी इस डायरेक्शन में जा रही है, हमारी बोट जो है वो ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन में जा रही है, इस डायरेक्शन. पानी वाटर इज गोइंग टुवर्ड्स द राइट डायरेक्शन बट द बोट इज गोइंग टुवर्ड्स द लेफ्ट डायरेक्शन. दैट इज दे बोथ आर ट्रैवलिंग इन द ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन. इस सिचुएशन को हम बोलते हैं अपस्ट्रीम. अपस्ट्रीम में क्या होती है, बोट तो अपनी स्पीड से जा रही है, लेकिन जो वाटर उसके ऑपोजिट आ रही है उसे उतना तेज भागने नहीं देती जितना उसकी स्पीड है. बोट की स्पीड क्या है यहाँ पे 18 किलोमीटर पर आवर. वाटर की स्पीड क्या सोचा हमने, x किलोमीटर पर आवर. अब ये बोट जो 18 किलोमीटर पर आवर स्पीड से जा रही है, ये पानी उसे उतना स्पीड से नहीं जाने देगी, मतलब उसकी स्पीड कम कर देगी. कितना कम कर देगी, x. So what is the point that you need to remember in upstream and downstream is, in downstream, the ultimate speed is nothing but sum of speeds of the boat and water. In the upstream, the ultimate speed is nothing but the difference of speeds of boat and water. Always remember, boat की speed पानी की speed से ज़्यादा होती है. So in the difference case, we take boat speed minus water speed. Clear? जब आपको ये रिलेशन पता चल जाएगी, दूसरा रिलेशन आपको याद क्या रखनी है, डिस्टेंस, स्पीड एंड टाइम के रिलेशन. कोई भी प्रॉब्लम जब भी आप अपस्ट्रीम और डाउनस्ट्रीम के बारे में देखते हैं, आपको दो ही पॉइंट्स याद रखनी. ये तो व्हाट इज डाउनस्ट्रीम, व्हाट इज अपस्ट्रीम रिलेटिव स्पीड्स, उसको कैसे कैलकुलेट करना अभी मैंने आपको बता दिया. दूसरी रिलेशन जो यूज होती है वो है डिस्टेंस, टाइम एंड स्पीड का रिलेशन. आपको तो सबको पता है डिस्टेंस, टाइम, स्पीड का रिलेशन क्या होता है, उसे हमें यूज करें. अब क्वेश्चन क्या है वो पढ़ें. Motorboat goes 18 kilometers per hour in still water, takes 1 hour more to go 24 kilometers upstream and return back to the spot. So यहाँ पे क्या हो रही है, डिस्टेंस हमारे पास 2 पॉइंट्स है, इस 2 पॉइंट्स के बीच में डिस्टेंस जो है 24 किलोमीटर. बोट जो है पहले इस तरफ जा रही है, फिर वापस इस तरफ आ रही है. जाते वक्त अगर वो डाउनस्ट्रीम है तो वापस आते वक्त तो ऑब्वियसली अपस्ट्रीम ही होगा, क्योंकि 2 पॉइंट्स ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शंस में. सो यहाँ पे डिस्टेंस जो है हमें 24 किलोमीटर है। टाइम का रिलेशन हमें दिया है 1 किलोमीटर मोर, सॉरी 1 आवर मोर। तो हमें क्या करनी है, ये टाइम की रिलेशन डिस्टेंस और स्पीड के साथ करनी है। सो हाउ कैन वी मेक डिस्टेंस बाय स्पीड इज इक्वल्स टू टाइम, ये रिलेशन हम यूज करें। अब डाउनस्ट्रीम में क्या हो जाती है, डाउनस्ट्रीम में डिस्टेंस तो वही 24 किलोमीटर से, हमारा स्पीड जो है वो है 18 + x। अब आते हैं अपस्ट्रीम में रिलेशन। अपस्ट्रीम में भी डिस्टेंस 24 किलोमीटर है, उसका स्पीड क्या है 18 - x। दिस इज द टाइम इन डाउनस्ट्रीम, दिस इज द टाइम इन अपस्ट्रीम। अब क्वेश्चन क्या बता रही है हमें, क्वेश्चन ये कह रही है once the boat is in the still water takes 1 hour more in upstream than downstream। मतलब अपस्ट्रीम में डाउनस्ट्रीम से भी 1 घंटा ज्यादा लग रही है। The simplest thing is the difference between upstream and downstream is 1। अपस्ट्रीम में ज्यादा टाइम लग रहा है, डाउनस्ट्रीम में कम टाइम लग रहा है। कितना ज्यादा लग रहा है, 1 घंटा। So this is the equation that we are framing out of this question। अब अगर ये 5 मार्क के क्वेश्चन है, अब यहां तक सॉल्व करोगे आपको 2 मार्क मिलेंगे, बिकॉज आपने विजुअलाइज करा कि डाउनस्ट्रीम अपस्ट्रीम क्या होती है, डिस्टेंस स्पीड का रिलेशन क्या होती है, आपने इक्वेशन फ्रेम कर पाए। आप इसको क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन में रिड्यूस करनी है, वो आपकी दूसरी स्टेज। तो क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन में रिड्यूस करने के लिए आपको एलसीएम ही करना पड़ेगी। सो व्हाट डू यू गेट, 24 टाइम्स 18 + x माइनस 24 टाइम्स 18 - x divided by 18 square minus x square is equals to 1. Now you have to solve this. So how will you solve it? In the numerator, 24 is a common part. So 24, if I take a common part, 18 + x minus 18 plus x is equals to, I'll take the denominator to the other side, it becomes 342, 324 minus x square. So here this gets cancelled. You are having 24 into 2x, which is 48x. So हमें इस part को हमें अभी solve करना है. So let's see how do we solve this part. I'll erase this relation. So I have here, I will take this 48x is equals to 324 minus x square. So I will take all the terms to the left side. X square plus 48x minus 324 is equals to 0. So this is a quadratic equation which I got. So by solving this part, you are getting another 2 marks. Up to here, you will get a 2 mark score. By resolving it into a quadratic equation, you will get another 2 marks. Now for solving the quadratic equation, you will get 1 more. So how do you solve it? Either you solve it by factorization method, or you solve it, what do you call it, as splitting of middle terms, you can solve it. Either way, you can solve it. You can solve it in any way. But here, I suggest you to go for splitting of middle terms. If you don't want, you can go for factorization method also. I mean, the formula method also. In formula method, you should use the multiplication of 324 with 4 and 48 square. So lengthy values. अब अगर आप tables में very good, मतलब you are able to visualize 324 because it is 18 square. So जो भी factors आएंगे 18 factors form में ही आएंगे. So यहाँ पे जो factors आएंगे 54 and 6 आएंगे. So यहाँ plus 48 है. So my bigger number will be plus and my smaller number will be minus. So x square plus 54x minus 6x minus 324 equals to 0. So x into x plus 54 will be the first group factorization. And in the second group, I will take minus 6 as common, x plus 54. So I got my two factors as x plus 54 and x minus 6 for the left quadratic polynomial. इसकी रूट्स पता करूंगी तो 6 and minus 54 आएंगे. Minus 54 कैन नॉट बी द स्पीड, क्योंकि मेरी इक्वेशन x जो है वो स्पीड ऑफ द स्ट्रीम, स्पीड का भी नेगेटिव नहीं हो सकता. So 6 km/h is the speed of the water in this problem. So कोई भी वर्ड प्रॉब्लम हो, सबसे पहले आपको क्वेश्चन को समझनी है. आपकी सेकेंड पार्ट, जो कुछ भी पॉइंट्स आपके पास दिया हुआ है, जो मिसिंग है, उसके साथ आपको कोरिलेट करके एक रिलेशन बनानी. दैट इज व्हाट वी मेड एट दिस स्टेप. सो जो हमारे पास है, जो हमें नहीं मिला, उसके साथ हमने एक रिलेशन बनाया। उस रिलेशन को सिंप्लीफाई करके हमें अपने स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्म में लानी, उस स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्म को सॉल्व करके हमें अपना सोल्यूशन पानी। दिस इज हाउ वी डू दिस. So now for solving this, you'll be getting 1 mark for this part. So totally, again, this is a 5-marker question. So this is how you get the solution for this. So now it's your time of solving. Here is the first question. It's an assertion reasoning question. Solve it and let me know the answers. So are you all able to follow the class? So Mukund, can you answer this question for me?
Raise their hands.
You can even raise your hands for answering. I could see some answers in my chat box, but unfortunately that is not right. You need to observe the question carefully. Many of you are sending me the same answer. Please observe your question. 5 root 2 is not the root of the quadratic equation, which is given there. And the roots of a quadratic equation is obtained, are the values which satisfies those equations. Yes, now I started getting all the right answers. Very good. Yes, perfect. Prerna, what is your answer? Prerna Chatterjee. All the answers are right so far. I could see Pushti, Pratik, Mukund, Kashish. All these answers are right. The rest need to check. Because just by looking at the numbers, you are solving the equations. You are not concentrating on the complete statement. Here, if you solve this equation, you will get 5 root 2 as a solution. For this equation, 5 root 2 is a solution. But here they're saying it is not a solution. How is it? Let us check. So x square minus 3 root 2x minus 20 equals to 0. अब minus 20 को जब मैं split करूंगी, I'll get 5 and 4. लेकिन इसमें root 2 कहीं भी नहीं है. 5 को तो मैं root 2 फॉर्म में reduce नहीं कर सकती. तो 4 को ही reduce करूँ. 4 को root 2 फॉर्म में कैसे कर सकते हैं? इस 4 जो है, इसे मैं लिख सकती हूँ 2 root 2 into root 2. अब ये जो root 2 है, मैं इस 5 को split करूँ. Because 5 root 2 and 2 root 2 are my 2 roots. All these are nothing but a factorization. I have 20. I'm making it as 5 into 4. Instead, I'm making it as 5 into root 2 into 2 root. अब ये root 2 जो है, इसके साथ पेयर अप हो या इसके साथ पेयर अप हो, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? क्योंकि सब प्रोडक्ट फॉर्म में ही है. अब 5 root 2 into 2 root 2 is again 20. But I need minus 20. तो मैं क्या करूंगी? X square minus 5 root 2x plus 2 root 2x minus 20 equals to 0. So x into x minus 5 root 2 plus 2 root 2 अगर मैं कॉमन लेती हूँ, दूसरा फैक्टर है x minus. So I have x is equals to 5 root 2 as one factor minus 2 root 2 as other factor. लेकिन उन्होंने कहा 5 root 2 is not a factor. Why am I telling you this method is? Because जब ABC वैल्यूज में कोई भी इरेशनल नंबर हो, उसे फैक्टराइजेशन कैसे करनी है आपको आनी चाहिए. इसीलिए मैंने एक सैंपल क्वेश्चन चूज किया. लेकिन इस क्वेश्चन को इसके अलावा भी तरीके से भी सॉल्व कर सकते हैं. कैसे? कोई भी वैल्यू इक्वेशन की रूट है या नहीं, कैसे पता कर सकते हैं? जस्ट रिप्लेस द वैल्यू ऑफ इन द प्लेस ऑफ एक्स. सो 5 root 2 होल स्क्वायर minus 3 root 2 into 5 root 2 minus 20. Solve this and check whether you're getting your LHS, RHS same or not. You will get your LHS and RHS same in this. जब LHS, RHS same हो जाएंगे तो वो वैल्यू जो आपने x के लिए चूज करा वो रूट बनेगी. अब अगर वो LHS, RHS को इक्वेट नहीं करा देन वो रूट नहीं बनेगी. यहाँ पे तो रूट बनेगी बनेगी, लेकिन उन्होंने कहा दिस इज नॉट ए रूट, which is a false state. And automatically, this is what the reason is telling. Every root will satisfy the equation. Here we are looking for the satisfaction condition. So this is a true. So for that reason, D is the answer for this question. So moving further, here you have the next question. So this is again on irrational roots. आप इसे किसी भी तरीके से सॉल्व कर सकते हो. I have no objection. आप फैक्टराइजेशन मेथड में भी कर सकते हो, आप फार्मूला मेथड में भी कर सकते हो, किसी भी तरीके से करिए. But I want the answer for this. So there's a person called SP in the class. I want Mr. SP and Kamlesh to answer this question. Yeah, dear, you can solve it in any method. आप फार्मूला मेथड में भी कर सकते हो, आप फैक्टराइजेशन मेथड में भी कर सकते हो. You can do it anyway. I'm okay with it. Because क्वेश्चन में स्पेसिफाई नहीं करा है कि किस मेथड आपको यूज करनी. इन द एग्जाम इफ दे स्पेसिफाई यूज सो ऑन सो मेथड, देन वो मेथड यूज करने पे ही आपको मार्क्स मिलेंगे, फुल मार्क्स मिलेंगे. यहाँ पे स्पेसिफिकेशन नहीं है, तो इट्स योर चॉइस ऑफ विच मेथड यू डू इट. परफेक्ट, नो प्रॉब्लम. मैं एक्सप्लेन करूँ. I'll explain it. So who want it in formula method? Do not bother if you're not able to get it. I'll explain that. Right answer, Pratik. Pushti is also right. Very good. Very good. Very good. Kashish is also right. Aaron is also right. Yes, Kamlesh and Mr. SP, what's the answers? Is this SP, Mr. or Miss? I'm not sure. Okay. So somebody has a doubt of how to solve it in formula method. So let's see that. This problem I help you to solve in formula method. Here, this is A value, 5 is B value, minus 2 root 3 is C value. So I will replace it in the formula, which is minus B. My formula is minus B plus or minus root of B square minus 4AC by 2A. So B value is 5, so minus 5 plus or minus root of B square is 5 square minus 4AC. 4 into A value is 4 root 3, C value is minus 2 root 3 divided by 2A. So 2 into 4 root 3. So when I solve it, it is minus 5 plus or minus root of 25. अब आप ये part आप solve करोगे, this becomes 32 into 3, 96 by 8 root 3. Thank you, Kashish. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thanks for your feedback. Minus 5 plus or minus, if you solve this part, what is 25 plus 96? Anyone? Is it 121, which is nothing but 11. So I can make it as 11 directly. So which is 11 by 8 root 3. So when I solve this further, I will get it as minus 5 plus 11 by 8 root 3 as one part. The other one, minus 5 minus 11 by 8 root 3 as the other part. When I solve this, you can see it. Here you get 6 by 8 root 3. The other one minus 16 by 8 root 3. So if you solve this here, 6 I can write it as 2 root 3 into root 3 by 8 root 3. So if you solve this, I will get it as root 3 by 4. And here, this becomes minus 2 by root 3. You can leave it as it is, but preferably, कभी भी denominator irrational है, उसे denominator irrational मत छोड़िएगा. तो आप क्या करोगे? इसको irrational करो. So by multiplying and dividing with root 3, you will get it as minus 2 root 3 by 3. ऐसे भी जोड़ सकते. अगर आपके options में ऐसे है, that is also fine. So these are the two roots that you get. So this is how you go for it. So moving further, here you have the next question. So some of you felt that you will feel more friendly with Hindi in the way of communication. So I started using some Hindi. I'm not that good at Hindi. Hope you are going to adjust with my Hindi. So this is the next question. Sarita. Sarita will be answering this. And there's one more person called HW. I don't know who's the person. I want him or her to answer this question again. And who else didn't get a chance? Let me look at. All the others are very sincerely answering in the chat box. I appreciate them. So I could find your zeal of learning. So when you're learning something and you're aptly responding on time, that itself. I don't mean that others are not learning, but it shows your interest towards how fast and how quick you are picking up. And if you're going wrong somewhere, I could be helping you for that also. Very good. Very good, Pushti. I find most of the answers have been first answered by you correctly. Very good. I appreciate your speed. And I again tell you, everybody is free to ask your doubts in the class at the end. You can raise your hand or you can unmute to ask your doubts at the end of the session so that all your doubts will be cleared. Make the complete utility of this 15 sessions which is being provided by MTG to you. आपको जो कुछ भी डाउट्स है किसी भी क्वेश्चन की सॉल्व करने के तरीके पे या क्वेश्चन समझ में आने में या फिर a particular topic, whatever it is, you can get your doubts being cleared at the end of the session. Yes, I could see all the answers being right. Very good. It is perfect. It is 3. How is it? Here they are telling one root is 6 times the other. So here we use the concept of polynomials. जो polynomials हमने concept use किया वो यहाँ पे use करेंगे. Sum of roots is alpha plus beta. Product of roots is alpha beta. यहाँ पे एक root जो है दूसरी root की 6 times है. That is, you can take alpha as 6 times of beta. Now here, what does this statement become? Alpha plus beta is nothing but minus b by e. You know that alpha beta is minus b by e. So यहाँ पे आप replace करोगे, you'll get 14 by p. But we have taken alpha is equals to 6 beta. So we will get it as beta plus 6 beta is equals to 14 by p, which makes you 7 beta is equals to 14 by p, leading beta value as 2 by p. Now coming to alpha beta. Alpha beta is c by a. C by a is nothing but 8 by p here. अब हमारे पास जो beta है 2 by p. I will replace here. So alpha is 6 beta into beta is equals to 8 by p. I have here 6 beta square is equals to 8p square. 8 by p. Now when I replace this beta value in this, what will it happen? 6 times 2 by p whole square is equals to 8 by p. On further solving it, I get 6 into 4 by p square is equals to 8 by p. So you can cancel 1p, you'll be left over with 1. And in the numerator, you have 2 times and 2 being solved with 3. You have ultimately here 3 by p is equals to 1, p equals to 3. This is how you solve this. Why am I using this alpha beta method? Means because the question में ये बताएगा कि one root is 6 times of the other. जब आपको एक रूट को दूसरे रूट के साथ रिलेट करनी है तो ऑब्वियसली आपको सम ऑफ रूट्स और प्रोडक्ट ऑफ रूट्स का कॉन्सेप्ट ही यूज करना. सो दैट इज व्हाट आई हैव यूज्ड हियर. So here you have options also. This is an MCQ question. So as usually, as all your answers are right, it is option B. This is another word problem. Solve this word problem. Then we'll go for the practice questions for this chapter. And I'll reveal you the answers for the last chapter practice questions. So solve this last question of the day. So I give the whole class a permission to unmute and speak. So anyone in the class who gets the answer first can unmute to speak for me. What would be the sides of the two squares that we have here? Whoever gets the first answer can unmute to speak. I appreciate that many of you are maintaining the harmony of the class by posting your doubts in the chat box. But I would like to hear others' voices also along with my voice. I was the one continuously speaking in the class. So if you have any doubt, you can even raise your hand. I'll give you an option to speak out. You'll be unmuted. So you can speak out also. Thank you, dear. Thank you for your feedback. So all your feedbacks are motivation to us so that we can come with a better content for the upcoming classes. Okay. Yes, Pushti, you want to say something?
12 and 20.
12 meters and 20 meters are the sides of the two squares. Okay. So that's your answer. Anyone who want to counter, Pushti? Yes, the answer is right in the chat box. Yes, Pushti, you are absolutely correct. It is 20 meters and 12 meters. Perfect. Very good. So good to hear your voice. So now let's see how to solve this. Now there are two squares. We don't know their sides, but they have given us the relation between their perimeters, difference of their perimeters. Now let us think that this is a bigger square, this is a smaller square. Now I have 4x minus 4y is equals to 32 because perimeter relation, which makes it as x minus y is equals to 8, or which I can still write it as x is equals to 8 plus y. Now, I have another condition. What is it? Sum of square areas is 544. So, I have x square plus y square is equals to 544. Now, I have to replace this x is equals to 8y in this, then only I can solve it, because it is squares of two variables. It is a quadratic polynomial in two variables. So I can't solve it. I'll reduce it to one variable. So how will I reduce it? So x square, in the place of x square, I'll make it as 8 plus y. So 8 plus y whole square plus y square is equals to 544. Now when I solve this, I get it as 64 plus y square plus 16y plus y square is equals to 544. अब जब मैं इसको सॉल्व करूंगी मुझे मिलेगी 2y square plus 16y. 64 and 544 I have. So if I subtract it, I will get it as minus 480 as the constant part. लेकिन इन सब में all you can see all the terms are even terms. So मैं 2 common निकालूंगी, ये बन जाएगी y square plus 8y minus 240 is equals to 0. अब इसे मुझे सॉल्व करनी है. अब इसमें सॉल्व कैसे करूंगी? मेरे पास 240 है, minus 240 और इसको फैक्टराइज करनी है. You can use the factorization method or formula method again, as I've told you. So here 240 is a simple value because it is a zero ending number. So I can easily split as 20 and 12. 20 12s are 240 and the difference is also 8. I need plus 8, so plus 20 minus 12. So this equation becomes y square plus 20y minus 12y minus 240 equals to 0. So I will solve it as y times of y plus 20 minus 12 times of y plus 20. So when I solve it, I get y plus 20 into y minus 12 equals to 0. So this is going to give me a negative value, so I ignore it. Y is equals to 12 because it is a side of the square. When y is equals to 12, automatically the other side, square side is plus 8, so 20. So 20 meters and 12 meters are the sides of the two squares. This is how I solve this. Okay. So yes, all the chat box answers were right. The answer for this is 20 and 12. Now let's see the practice questions for this chapter. Wait, what happened? 1 second. My screen has got shared out. I'm sharing my screen. You can see this. Here are your practice questions for this chapter. Take a screenshot of it, work on this, and get back with your solutions, answers in the next class. Hope you have taken your screenshot. Can I move ahead? Oh, sorry. There was a small mistake in this. You can ignore the first question. I don't know why somehow it has been showing the first question of the previous chapter. So ignore this. So you can solve the 2 to 5 questions. So 2 to 5 questions you can solve. Okay. So here is your answer key for the last chapter practice questions. So cross-check with the answers that you have got. So can I stop screen sharing? Is still anyone noting? Okay, that's your session for today. Anybody, any doubts? Anyone want to ask something? So our next chapter is going to be arithmetic progression. So one of the most important and interesting topics. In the very first class, when I've been asking, a few of you have been telling arithmetic progression is difficult for you. So all your difficulties will be solved by next class. So stay tuned and let's meet back in the next class with arithmetic progression. So till then, bye from my side. Stay healthy, study well, and practice. Keep practicing for your boards. Bye, dear. Thank you. Thank you.